All right, welcome in. It is Weekend at Bookies, brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. In a moment, Andrew Stetka will go over his Stets and Figures for sports betting this week. And later on in the program, our friend Brad Kronthal from Alloy Sports. We'll see what the numbers are telling him about Week 14 in the NFL. That's all coming up. Big Saturday night in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, Maryland. UFC 282. Jan Blachowicz. Yes. That was my second guess. Against not Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Nope, it'd be Khabib Nurmagomedov,
Right.
And it's Magomed Ankalaev.
Magomed Ankalaev.
Yes.
Against Jan Blachowicz. The main event, UFC 282. Patty the Batty in action. You can watch and bet on all of the fights. You can watch for free in the FanDuel. Whenever I say I watch and bet for free, you got to make it clear. The bets aren't free. You do have to pay for your betting tickets. But you can watch for free. You don't have to pay a penny. You don't have to order a pay-per-view, anything like that. You hang out in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. Plus, the Terrence Crawford fight is going to be shown on Saturday night in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. So a big fight night Saturday. And you don't have to pay to watch either one of them. And you can win money betting on the fights in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. It's been a while since we've done it. He is our buddy, Andrew Stetka, and he is with us now for this week's Stets and Figures. Good morning, pal. How are you?
Good morning, Glenn. How's it going?
Everything is all right. Not so bad last time out. Not so bad. You won one.
Yeah, we won one. We hit a teaser, right?
Yeah, you hit a teaser. You hit a teaser on the Colts and Broncos, so you did get that one.
Which, looking back, is like, holy crap! How did you hit a teaser on the Colts and Broncos?
Yeah, that is pretty.
Yeah,
it might be the only time anyone's ever done anything like that. But yeah, the rest of it, not so great. Not so great. But hey, we move on. It's been 4 weeks. We've learned a lot since that time. It's time for us to bounce back and do a little bit better this time around. Where are we starting with Stets and Figures this week?
We're going to start with tonight's game because we need an incentive to watch a dreadful Rams team play a resurgent Raiders team.
It's definitely resurgent.
So, yeah, I think that's fair. I kind of said that with a little bit of hesitancy, but I think that's a fair statement to make. The Raiders, despite their resurgence, have been pretty banged up. It still does not look like they're going to have Hunter Renfrow or Darren Waller in this game tonight, but that's okay. They've got a guy named Davante Adams. He's pretty good from what I hear. So I've got a small little same-game parlay to put you on for this game tonight around Adams and his quarterback, Derek Carr. Adams is averaging over 13 targets and more than 130 yards in his last 5 games for Las Vegas. He's been tearing it up. The Rams, on the other hand, have allowed over 320 passing yards in their last 2 games. Carr and Adams are really gelling. So this is going to be really simple. Derek Carr plus 200 yards, Davante Adams plus 60 yards, and an anytime touchdown. It's plus 120. It seems like of course, it seems like a no-brainer, but it really does. It's not a lot they don't have to really pump up the stats. You're getting plus money on a little same-game parlay there.
Wait, okay. You got Derek Carr 200 and Davante Adams plus 60?
60 plus and an anytime touchdown.
And an anytime touchdown. Sorry, that's the part that I missed. Okay, so all 3 of those.
Yes.
I was like, wait a second.
All
Those
3
2
of
numbers
those
don't get me there. Yeah. And an anytime touchdown.
Yeah, all 3 of those is plus 120. And honestly, if you feel a little frisky and want to make it Adams to score twice, you could pump that up to plus 456. But I like it just for the 1 touchdown, get me plus 120. That's a simple little bet to make. Throw your money on that tonight on the Thursday night football game.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. All right, very good. I'm trying to put that together right now. Yeah, you know what? It came to plus 118. It's come down. I'm so sorry. I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't know if I'm able to run it. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to run it at plus.
I literally checked it 45 minutes ago and it was 120.
Well, so do better.
Somebody must have read my notes.
Do better. Do better. Okay. I need you to.
Yeah, exactly.
I need you to lock it up a little bit. No, I like that. That's a very compelling little parlay for this evening. All right, where are we headed next?
We're going to go to a game that's getting a lot of attention frankly, this week, and that's that Lions-Vikings game. It appears to be a head-scratching line. You're talking about a 4-7 Lions team being favored against the 10-2 Vikings. But as we have all kind of heard about all week, the advanced metrics would tell you the Lions are better than the Vikings on both sides of the ball. That difference is especially clear when you match up this Lions offense against the Vikings defense. Detroit's offense ranking 7th with a healthy Amon-Ra St. Brown. And the Vikings, I don't expect to be able to stop him. You also got to look at Kirk Cousins in road games when it's expected to be a tight game, so a spread of ±3. Since 2018, in those tight games on the road, he's just 3-9-1 against the spread, and that ranks 68th out of a 69 possible quarterbacks that have been put in that spot. He's been only better than Dak Prescott since 2018 in that scenario. So I also found a really, really interesting stat about this game. Teams with 80% winning percentages as an underdog against a team with an under 500 record has happened 89 times in the last 20 years. But it's only happened 8 times in December or later. So when you have more games built up in the season, the last team to fall under this scenario, it happened in 2004. The 9-2 Falcons, led by Michael Vick, were 1.5 point favorites against the Buccaneers. They lost that game 27-0 to Tampa. So all of this is to say, I like the Lions. You guys heard that on Glenn Clark Radio. I picked the Lions. This line has moved to -1.5. So I like the Lions -1.5 against the Vikings this week.
I do not. There's a bunch of things.
Which we know, which is fair.
I do not. The biggest reason I do not is because 1 p.m. Kirk Cousins exists, and some of those numbers, and I have been a slave to a lot of numbers this season, and I've kind of tried to back off. And some of those numbers end up being a little bit skewed when you're talking about a 1.5 point spread, right? Like, it's one thing if Kirk Cousins didn't cover an 8 point spread against a crap Lions team 2 years ago. That really has nothing to do with whether or not they're going to cover being dogs against the Lions today. But I understand it's not an irrelevant number. It's just that sometimes we end up looking at those numbers and get carried away by them, and we lose context for the moment. The Lions absolutely could win this game. There's no debate in my mind. The Lions could absolutely win this game. There's no question about it. I don't feel good enough, frankly, that I would bet on it either way. I would not put any money on this game because I think there's way too much, crapshoot involved in a game like this to be betting it with a 1.5 point spread. So I don't feel good about it either way. I get it. Again, if you just want to buy into the metrics do indeed suggest the Lions are a better team. But at the end of the day, if this is a close game and one team can chuck the ball to Justin Jefferson, I'm not to take anything away from Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's been unbelievable, and I know how good he is. I actually got into a fight, oddly, on draft night with a group of people, trying to tell everybody about how good Amon-Ra St. Brown was. When it was very weird. We were at we actually had in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. Rita was there. She could tell you all about it. I was like, you guys are missing something. Amon-Ra St. Brown is excellent. And he has proved to be even better than that this season. But, if this is a close game at the end of the game and one of these teams can just chuck the ball the direction of Justin Jefferson, I'll still like that team too. So there's a lot of the reasons there. I wouldn't bet it, but I get it. There's absolutely a chance the Lions can win this football game. And if they win, they're probably going to win by more than a point. Just to guess. Like, it's
I would think so.
Yeah, the scenario where the Lions win 24-23 is slim. All right, he's Andrew Stetka. These are Stets and Figures. Where are you headed next?
We're going to go skip ahead to the Monday night game, another game where you might not have a huge incentive to watch. We're talking Patriots at Cardinals this week. But at least it gives us a real chance to find a coaching edge in this game. Bill Belichick against Cliff Kingsbury. My mouth is watering. The Cardinals are coming off a bye, but the Pats also have extra rest too, as they played last Thursday. So mini bye for them. This is a real edge in coaching, though. Belichick is 65% against the spread after a loss, and he's also 65% against the spread in spreads of 3 or less. So Patriots are favored by 1.5 in this game. There's just also really a strong football argument to be made that 1.5 is just too thin of a spread for this one. The Patriots defense ranks 3rd in DVOA. The Cardinals offense is 29th. There's a huge gap between those two things. And New England is also the 9th overall team in DVOA, while Arizona is second to last. They rank 31st in overall DVOA at this point in the season. This is just a mismatch, and I don't think the Patriots should only be laying 1.5. So give me the Pats on the road Monday night against the Cardinals.
This is one of the few things that we will probably agree on. I look, it's tough to have any faith in the any real faith in the Patriots, particularly what you saw. But they're, I don't know, half essentially coming off the bye anyway. Like they played on Thursday night the previous week, and they get to wait till Monday night, right? Like they essentially got a bye as well. I'm just not someone who has a ton of faith in the Patriots on the whole, but yes, their defense against a Cardinals team that is utterly and completely lost. I understand the reasoning for your selection, and I probably would line up with it as well.
Yeah, don't get me wrong; these are not the Patriots of old, but the Cardinals are a mess. You're right, and it's a huge mismatch. And I think the fact that the Cardinals are home means they're probably getting a little more of an edge than they
The only thing that I can say about it is, like, I've never seen a Patriots team that looked as lethargic and, I don't know, uninterested, dispirited as I saw in that game against the Bills after the early touchdown. Like, everything past that first touchdown, like, they never appeared to be in the football game. It just sort of looked like the Bills were having fun. Like, we don't really have to try all that hard because you're not going to do anything. I don't know. It was a weird look for a Patriots team under Bill Belichick.
To me, I hear what you're saying there too. It feels like one of those division things, short week. I think they kind of know the Bills own them right now too. There might be a little bit of backseating in.
Maybe.
The Bills have clearly surpassed them, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. But I just feel like the Patriots are weirdly enough still in the chase for this.
They're definitely still in the chase. There's no doubt about it. I was so odd to look at. It was so strange to see a team that was just in no ways involved with a football game. Like, they were just along for the ride. Like, whenever this is, let's just get to the finish line. Like, that's all it was. And I'm just not used to seeing that in the Patriots team. But I do still agree with you on this particular pick. All right, and number 4.
Number 4, we're going to go to the World Cup. Saturday, England, France. This is not just one of the juiciest quarterfinals, but one of the juiciest games of this entire World Cup.
I mean, most of the quarterfinals are fairly juicy. Like, there's only one Morocco.
Fair, but I think this one has a lot to be desired for me, and I'm gonna explain what some of that is. I'll be honest, this has a lot to be desired for me personally because of something I'm going to tell you about in a second. But England got off to a slow start against Senegal, but this is a team that seems to be peaking right now, and it's a team that I kind of liked as a sneaky. I don't want to call England a dark horse, but I don't think many people thought England had a great chance to win this World Cup. I do like them to advance past France in this game, and I'm going to tell you why. Harry Kane, England's striker, was the 2018 Golden Boot winner, got off the mark against Senegal, got his first goal of the tournament. Now he gets to go up against his own teammate at Tottenham Hotspur in goalkeeper Hugo Lloris, the captain of France. And Hugo Lloris has not only looked really shaky in this World Cup, but he's looked shaky this entire season, even in club football. And I really like the opportunity for not only Harry Kane, but the rest of that England attack to be pressing against Hugo Lloris, who looks shaky with the ball. He's never been someone who can distribute well. And I think that's something that gives England a really good chance. Now, you're going to say to me, what about Kylian Mbappe? Of course, Kylian Mbappe is going to be really, really tough for England to stop. France have a lot going for them going forward. But if there's any one player that I think could potentially match up with Kylian Mbappe for speed on the pitch, it is the England right back Kyle Walker. He is super speedy. It's going to be an incredible matchup. I'm really excited to watch it. And then one other small note that kind of goes against France. I have to be honest, I didn't expect France to even be in this position. And that's only because we haven't seen a repeat winner at the World Cup since the 60s. It's 1962 when Brazil won its second straight. So it's really hard to win back-to-back World Cups. I do see England getting past France, which is plus 104. You can pair that with both teams to score and bump a parlay up to plus 241 in this game. So those two legs get you up to plus 241. But I do like England in this matchup against France and for both teams to score.
All right. That is a bold parlay that you're going with there. I don't have any feeling about it whatsoever, so I'm not going to say anything. I have no idea what's going to happen. All right, sir. At A Stetka on Twitter is how you follow him. We will see how these play out. We will talk to you again into, we'll do. Oh, you know what? We might have to move that show that week because I think we're going to do a drinking show on the 22nd. I think that might be the case. We'll figure that out. But appreciate you, and we will talk to you in 2 weeks. Thank you, sir.
All right, sounds good. Cheers.
Andrew Stetka, Stets and Figures. here on Weekend at Bookies. When we come back in, Brad Kronthal, Alloy Sports. Let's find out what the numbers tell us. What can we learn about the football lines and just the whole slate for the week? We'll do that next. We're watching and listening to Weekend at Bookies, brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Join the Maryland Jockey Club at Laurel Park for Christmastide Stakes Day on Monday, December 26th. An exciting day of live horse racing awaits you with a whopping 6 stakes races worth $600,000 in prize money. Plus, enjoy a specially curated stakes buffet, a delicious hot chocolate bar, and hot cider cocktails. It may be cold, but Laurel Park has plenty of horse racing excitement, food, and beverages to keep you warm. Don't miss Christmastide Stakes Day at Laurel Park. Visit laurelpark.com for more info.
Come experience Maryland's #1 sportsbook this NFL season at the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, the ultimate place for any sports enthusiast. Take advantage of our 24/7 kiosks, massive video screens, and watch all the action from the best seat in the house. With more money paid out than anyone around, make every moment more at the new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
The weather outside is really unpleasant, so it's time to warm up with some comfort classics this winter at your neighborhood Glory Days Grill. Try the Twisted Ribs and Wings combo. It's 2 full pounds of meat, the mac and cheese bites, Mr. Richards meatloaf, the citrus salmon, the winter spinach salad, and for dessert, here's internet radio personality Griffin Bass to tell you about the bourbon butter cake.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Pair it with a blood orange bourbon cider or a devil's backbone cranberry smash. Place your order now at glorydaysgrill.com. Glory Days Grill, great food, good sports.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Stan the Fan here, welcoming back one of my favorite sponsors, the Costas Inn. And everybody around Baltimore knows the Costas Inn is a great place to go and grab crabs, steaks, salads, soups, whatever's on your mind to eat in person. But did you know that the Costas Inn has upped their game? They are now one of the premier takeout places in Baltimore. Give them a call now to order your food, 410-477-1975. That's the Costas Inn over 4100 North Point Boulevard.
Looking for a simple holiday meal? Try Chick-fil-A catering. From Chick-fil-A nuggets to mac and cheese, enjoy a variety of tray options sized perfectly for your get-together. Order through the Chick-fil-A app and bring smiles to your family gathering. Availability and order requirements vary. See restaurant for details.
Tune in to Simply the Bets every Tuesday and Weekend at Bookies every other Thursday at 11:40 a.m. And if you really have nothing better to do, keep listening to this show, too.
All right, this is Weekend at Bookies, brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. And, of course, not only the big fights on Saturday night, but you can still watch and bet on every World Cup match. Now, of course, not the crazy times, just 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. for the quarterfinals tomorrow and Saturday. You can watch them and get your bets in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. And don't forget, they have incorporated the mobile betting experience with the in-person experience in the FanDuel Sportsbook, so you can deposit money into your account there. If you want to bet on your phone, you can deposit money into the account at the window in the FanDuel Sportsbook, or you can cash out your winnings right there in the FanDuel Sportsbook from what you bet in your FanDuel app. With mobile betting now legal in the state of Maryland, fully incorporated process between the two in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Our friend Brad Kronthal from Alloy Sports is back with us now here on Weekend at Bookies. Brad, what's going on, sir? How are you?
Doing great, Glenn. I think the last time we talked, mobile betting wasn't live yet in Maryland, so a lot
life has changed.
It's been exciting.
Life has changed. I imagine it's driven up a little bit more interest in what you guys are doing at Alloy.
Absolutely, especially from the local angle. People are getting on the mobile apps, especially FanDuel, and they're betting on a nightly basis, a weekly basis for the NFL. So it's been really exciting for us being in the area.
All right, so tell me what's been fortunate. Give me the strategy that's worked best of late.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. I pulled one up that's been really hitting well over the last 3 weeks. This is a forecast that we rolled out a few weeks ago. It's called the bounce back strategy. And so this one's really looking at a team with good quarterback play, better than their opponent, and an offensive line that is strong enough to recover from a loss. So we're looking at teams specifically coming off a loss. So since 2020, this is a 67% win percentage, a 28% return on investment for close underdogs. But as of late, the last 3 weeks, this has been hitting really well for the money line for favorites, all favorites. It's been 14-1 in the last 3 weeks. So we do have a few different plays, 3 plays overall this week from this system.
Okay, I was trying to think off the top of my head of who that would be. Who lost last week? That is, the Jaguars aren't favored against the Titans. The Titans would be one, right? Like the Titans would make sense here, correct?
So for this strategy, it actually likes the Jaguars.
Okay.
As a close underdog, +4 going into Tennessee. That's the one game that is a close underdog that it likes this week. And the 2 favorites it likes is Miami on the money line. That is, Miami money line is creeping up. So if you like that money line, you might want to get in now before it keeps getting higher. It's at -178, and then it likes New England at -130 going into Arizona.
That makes sense coming off a loss to the Bills. That does make sense. All right, anything else strategy-wise that you've been noticing paying off this season?
Yeah, I think one thing we've seen a lot, obviously from a filters perspective, is the underdogs are hitting this year. They're hitting around 55% overall. So we're taking advantage of that and then taking it to the next level with different stats that we can find to enhance those numbers. So a couple things that we've seen have been really predictive this year is rushing teams have been performing really well, and then defensive teams when it comes to pressuring the quarterback. It might not be sacks per se, but different underlying stats like hurries per game, quarterback hits. So different stats that the sports books aren't necessarily tapping into, like the sexy stats or interceptions, but different stats and attributes that lead to those bigger types of plays.
Okay. Anything that jumps out at you when it comes to that?
Yes. So let's look at one game in particular that's going to have a lot of interest this week for a bunch of my strategies. I've got 15 saved now in the Rolodex. Baltimore +2.5 at Pittsburgh. We know here with the Ravens, the offense isn't changing at all with Tyler Huntley in there. Same offense. Ravens getting 2.5 points. I like the Ravens going into Pittsburgh this week.
That makes one of us. That makes one of us. This is way more heart than brain, though, on my part. I just not feeling good about it. All right. Anything else as you look at this week's slate of games that jumps out at you, Brad?
Yeah, I think there's a fun game tonight. The Vegas and the Rams. Rams have just been abysmal lately. There is one system that does like Vegas at -6, -6.5, depending on where you're getting your odds. I think it's at 6.5 on FanDuel. Hitting at 57% over the last 3 years. So Vegas, they're playing well. Devontae Adams, Derek Carr, kind of a turnaround that I didn't see coming over the last 2 weeks. Josh McDaniels on the chopping block. The Rams have been an absolute mess since winning the Super Bowl last year. So if you're looking to bet tonight's game, take a look at the system. This one's called the chain mover strategy, looking at good receiving play, and it's hitting quite well over the past couple of years.
Okay, and obviously Devontae Adams has been a monster, so I like everything about that. Hey, is there a strategy that can tell us whether or not the Orioles are going to sign a player at some point? Like, do you guys have anything worked out with that when it comes to Alloy?
We do not.
Damn it.
Very exciting winter meetings. Excited to see where the Orioles go, whether it's signing a free agent or pivoting on the trade block. We'll see.
That'd be nice. I'd really like it if you could come up with a strategy that says, yeah, they're going to land Sean Manaea, and I'm going to say, that would be great. Give me that strategy. I'll bet with that. Unfortunately, that's not the case. You want to remind everybody about what Alloy does, what it's all about, why it is that it's such a valuable resource as people start to dip their toes into the legal sports betting world here in the state of Maryland.
Yeah, absolutely. So Alloy, we let you build your own betting system. We'll give you some tips and pointers as well into different stats and data points that lead you to winning bets. We give out all the information to you in an easy to understand way. Maryland, and it's really an exciting time now getting in, but it can be a little bit daunting. Don't just throw your money away betting off your gut. Have the data to back it up, and you can do that with us. AlloySports.com or on the App Store at Alloy Sports, and then all our socials are at Alloy Sports as well.
And, of course, you can also give Brad a follow on Twitter, and that one is as simple. I liked your old one, by the way, better for the record. No offense, but at @B_Kronthal, KRONTHAL is how you follow him on Twitter. All right, buddy, we will see how these play out. We will talk again in a couple weeks. Thank you for taking the time for us, as always, my friends.
All right, Glenn, have a great weekend.
It's Brad Kronthal from Alloy Sports with us here on Weekend at Bookies, brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, getting you ready for Week 14 in the NFL. So this is the portion of the program where I got to think back 4 weeks, and I feel like this one was one that died pretty quickly, correct? This one died a quick death?
Yeah, it died a real quick death.
Remind me what it was. So if you don't know, Griffin's gratuitous grouping is what we call this. Unlike an Eddie Golovkin Triple G, this is our own Triple G. And I didn't think it went very well.
Yeah, I had Lorenzo Musetti over Jack Draper in some tennis tournament, and he lost. Musetti lost, so that killed it right away.
0-for-1.
Yep. And then I had Cordero Patterson to get 40 rushing yards in that Carolina-Atlanta monsoon game.
Yeah.
He didn't get 40 yards.
Yeah.
I also wanted the Alabama State plus 13.5 first half spread against USC.
The most random bet I think I've ever come across.
They were out of it immediately, and then even the last one I picked, I had Michael Chandler and Dustin Poirier to go the distance at UFC 281.
Yeah,
in their fight, and Poirier got a finish halfway through the third round.
Oh my! You went 0-for-4.
That means I can only go up.
That's true, but you understand the way this works. Wait a second.
4-for-4.
Yeah, this is not the funny thing being. I guess if you're going to lose one, you might as well lose all of them.
Right.
Because it's irrelevant if you go 3-for-4. This is a gratuitous grouping. This is a parlay bet. So if you were to go 3-for-4, it would help basically nothing.
Yeah.
You got to go 4-for-4 in order to pull this off. So I'm interested. How are you going to bounce back this week?
We are going to college basketball tonight. We're going to Iowa City. Iowa State plus 4.5 against the Hawkeyes. Big matchup between the Iowas.
Why are you feeling so strong in the Cy-Hawk matchup?
Yeah, I think it's already down at 3.5. I think it was 6.5 last night. But so I like the Cyclones here. I think it should be a good game, but I think Iowa State can win. They have one loss, and that was the UConn, and that was their third game in 4 days.
Are you playing them plus the 3.5?
Yes,
or are you playing them on the money line?
I'm taking
You're taking
plus
on the spread. Okay,
yes,
plus
and
3.5.
I think they have a chance to win outright. But I'm gonna take the points.
It's always so difficult. There's no sport to me that's more. I know we talk about backdoor covers in football, but there's no sport that's more difficult for me with spread betting than college basketball, just because of fouling. In the NBA, they're not gonna the most you'll get is a team will foul once if they're down by 1 and you have the ball and they have a chance to get it down by 3, right? That's the most that you'll see happen in the NBA is one foul. In college basketball,
they start
with a minute and a half left, and they could end up completely it's just the difficult part for me about spread betting. It's not unique. Everybody's been through it. Everybody's bet a spread in college basketball. It's why it's on bad beats constantly when SVP does that. But it makes it so difficult for me to bet spreads in college basketball because fouling just really, really screws things up.
But yeah, so I like Iowa State. The Hawkeyes have lost to better teams, and I think the Cyclones are a better team. They play better defense, and it's going to come down to how well they keep Chris Murray in check, and I think they will. Duke did a pretty good job of it. They can copy that from Tuesday
night. That was
night.
Just
they also
2 nights ago. That is weird that they're playing this game 2 nights after the Duke game.
And the Iowa State held Sonogo to 4 points when they played UConn, so I think they'll be able to handle Chris Murray down low, and I like them plus.
UConn ended up kind of pounding Florida last night, right?
Pounding? Oh, yeah, they did. Yes. Yeah, UConn did. Yeah. And then we will stick with tonight, Thursday Night Football. We're going with Josh Jacobs. He's had 3 straight games of 100-plus rushing yards. And rightfully so. That puts his over-under at 89.5 for tonight. But I'm going to take the under 89.5 rushing yards for Josh Jacobs. He's very banged up. I think he's still questionable, but he's expected to play. He's banged up, and he's gone for like 700 scrimmage yards in the last like 3 games. And they're coming off a short week. I think it's a really bad spot for him to get to 90 yards. And the Rams, I know Aaron Donald's still out, but the Rams have still had pretty solid rush defense. They held Seattle to 90 yards as a team. That was obviously Kenneth Walker got hurt, but they held Seattle to 90 yards as a team last week. They held Isaiah Pacheco to 69 yards on 22 carries the week before. And then they held the Saints with Alvin Kamara to also under 90 yards. And Taysom Hill had 52 of those rushing yards. So I like the Rams to slow down the Raiders rushing game and Josh Jacobs to struggle a little bit here tonight. I mean, he could still get 89 yards and be a pretty good night, but that would be under 89.5. So I like Josh Jacobs to go under and kind of come back to earth.
There's also, of course, the chance this ends up being a blowout, and they just decide they don't need to use Josh Jacobs all that much.
Yes.
So, it's interesting.
Then I will go to Saturday, World Cup, the game before France and England, Morocco, Portugal. I'm going to go under 2.5 goals in this game. I was going back and forth because if I went under 3.5, it was like minus 500 almost. But when you get minus 148 if you go under 2.5, and I think it's going to be
minus 150.
That's fine. I'll stick with it. I'm sticking with them under 2.5 goals. Morocco has conceded once in their last 8 games. And they obviously
it's what they're playing.
Draw.
It's clearly what they're playing for now. Like what they're playing for is let me junk this up, let me get this somehow to PKs and take my chances.
Yeah, and I like that strategy against Portugal. Portugal is going to have to come back to earth. They scored 6 in the round of 16.
Yeah, I do find it unlikely, but man, I don't.
They could still win like
they did
2-0.
They scored 6 without Cristiano Ronaldo. Like.
Well, Ronaldo's not Ronaldo anymore.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like they're loaded, man.
Yeah. I still want the 2.5 under 2.5. I think it's gonna be a low scoring game. I could very well go back to PKs and either 1-1, 0-0, and I think it's a low scoring game. So under 2.5, the early game on Saturday. And then finally, UFC, the third fight from the top, so not Magomed or Paddy the Baddy, which I do have a pick for. Stay tuned at Live Casino Hotel.
Follow Live Casino and Hotel Maryland on social media. You'll find out about that.
But I'm going with Alex Morono plus 148 over Santiago Ponzinibbio. So this is a fight that came together a little pretty quickly. So Ponzinibbio was supposed to fight Robbie Lawler early in the week, and then Robbie Lawler had to pull out for whatever reason. Robbie Lawler is a shell of himself, obviously a UFC legend, but he is a shell of himself. He's 40 years old, so Ponzinibbio was going to get back on track. He's lost 3 of 4, and he had a long layoff between 2018 and 2021, and since he's come back post-pandemic, he has lost 3 of 4. This Lawler fight was supposed to help him get back on track, but instead, Alex Morono, who has been a very active fighter since the pandemic started, who is going to be in shape even though he's taking this on short notice, he's won 4 in a row. And this is just Ponzinibbio is kind of getting screwed here because he's also getting up there in his fight career. Morono's kind of on the come up, and I think Morono's going to pull off the upset here, and he could do it in pretty exciting fashion. This is the third fight from the top at UFC 282.
That goes a long way to sort of juice this.
It does.
Like
I'm excited about this
parlay really kind of comes crazy. So this ends up being plus 1447. Is where this number ends up coming to.
Yeah.
Plus 1447 on this 4-leg parlay. Again, Iowa State plus 3.5 tonight. Josh Jacobs under 89.5 rushing yards. Morocco, Portugal under 2.5 goals, and Alex Morono just to win outright.
Yes.
On Saturday night at UFC 282. That all adds up to plus 1447. If you want to bet with Griffin, he hit one of these. Might be that you're still using free money at this point to see if you can't come up with another one.
You can use real money on this, baby.
Yeah, I'd ease up on all that. I'd ease up on going too crazy with that. We will see how it plays out. I'll say you won't go 0 for 4 again. That's as much as I'm willing to give you on this one.
Thanks.
All right, that's Griffin's gratuitous grouping. That will wrap us up for Weekend at Bookies. Again, you can watch UFC 282 as well as the Terrence Crawford fight Saturday night for free in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. You can even win money, come out on top, but reserve your spot right now by emailing events@sportssocialmd.com. We will see you on Tuesday for Simply the Bets. In the meantime, may the odds be ever in your favor.